Last year in South Africa, Kevin Sinclair batted with the West Indies tail, including Jay De Seals and Jay McAllister, to help the West Indies A team beat South Africa A in a 4-day test match. But before this, Kevin Sinclair had gotten some practice against the Windward Islands earlier in the year when he batted with the Guyana Harpy Eagle tail for almost half a day to deny the Windward Island Volcanoes victory in their 4-day match against the Guyana Harpy Eagle. That performance by Kevin Sinclair ultimately turned out to be the difference in points between the Guyana Harpy Eagle and the Windward Island Volcanoes at the end of the tournament last year. This morning, we will look at the Windward Island Volcanoes' chance of winning this year's regional 4-day tournament, which gets underway tomorrow morning in St. Kitts and Nevis and Jamaica. The Windward Islands will play Jamaica at Sabina Park. That match, the Cricket Forum will be attending. Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome to the show. I'm very happy that you are here with me this morning to look at the Windward Island Volcanoes team and their chances of winning this year's regional 4-day tournament is Andre Billy. Good morning, Andre Billy. Welcome to the show.
Good morning to you, Sir Carlton. Good morning to our viewers worldwide. It is indeed a pleasure being here discussing our favorite topic, which is West Indies cricket.
Thank you, and I appreciate you being here. Billy, I would have said my piece on the West Indies performance in Australia. But before we go to the Windward Islands Volcanoes squad and their chances of winning this tournament, I just want you to give your views, give your opinions, give your analysis on the performance of the West Indies ODI team in Australia. Now, one of the things that I have noticed is that whenever the West Indies cricket team lose, there are some persons who are coming out of the woodwork and talking about West Indies should be banned from international cricket. I wonder how much pain those persons are getting when West Indies win. I wonder how miserable their life is when West Indies win. And this is one of the reasons why we are so peeved when these gentlemen do not realize that there's a lot of persons out there, a large numbers of persons out there that are happy when they lose. But Billy, I have said my piece, as I have said. I want to hear your reaction on the West Indies ODI team performance in Australia.
Well, the word I'll use to describe our performance, I'm going to say disappointing. And a matter of fact, I'm going to say very, very disappointing. I'm going to tell you why. On the back of that test match win, which most of us or all of us was not expecting, we would have thought that such a win would have motivated the guys to let them feel and know that despite the disparity in terms of the financial income that each board gets or receive from the ICC, we still have what it takes to do well against these guys. And the thing that peeved me so much is that I didn't think that Australia really defeated us that much. It is our selection, it is our shot selection, it is our team organization, it is our planning, it is our self-belief, it is our confidence, and a lot thereof, I think, that really worked against us in this specific series. I've always said, I don't think Australia has the best cricketers in the world, even though they do have some good cricketers. I've always think that India has the best team. But what separates Australia from everybody else is 1, national pride, 2, their motivation, and 3, their self-belief that they always must do well and try to get the best out of themselves at all times. In the first match, we plan one particular way. We send a specific team on the field. The second match, for example, you would have moved Carter from your number 3 position and you put him at number 5. You're bringing an opener and you back the opener at number 3. Your third match, you then send back your opener to the top of the order. You put back Casey Carter back at number 3. That to me is a smack at confusion. It tells me that you do not have a consistent plan and you don't know exactly what your plans are going to match. Because if you have a set of plan, you have a tendency to stick to your plan and allow your plans to come true. So the planning behind the team isn't right. There's something going on in the background. I don't know if you guys have any connection with anybody in the team, can get a word or two, but there seems to be some conflict in management where one person is going in one direction and another person is going somewhere else. Hence what we're seeing on the field.
You mentioned about some characteristics of the Australia cricket team which make them such a formidable opponent in world cricket. How do you think that Cricket West Indies can instill those characteristics in our players? Or it is above Cricket West Indies? Is it regional government? Is it the school curriculum? How can these characteristics be instilled in our players?
You know, these characteristics are what you call an innate characteristic, meaning it is from within you, the individual. If you look at the respective countries across the region, I can only speak to Jamaica definitively because this is where I'm at. We seem to have a bit of a lackingness as far as national pride is concerned. That's just my opinion. For some reason, where other people from other countries can have this national pride, this desire to represent their country no matter what, this desire to do well, represent their country proudly at all times. For some reason, it seems to be lacking within the region. And this situation is actually culminated by the number of players that you see that is opting to play T20 leagues only. There can always be a balance between you earning T20 money and you representing your national team. But once the money comes up, these guys would run to every tournament possible. They'll say, okay, if there's 10 T20 tournaments, let me work with 6. Avoid 4 and make myself available for my national team. If it's 100 comes up, they want to play for the 100 and earn their money. So this national pride is something from within. If you don't have that national pride, I don't think it's something that can be instilled within you, right? So it's something that you have to adapt to or earn while you're from a young age coming up. So I don't know what governments or board can do. It's up to the individuals.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Casanova is saying top of the morning. Good morning, Mr. Casanova. He's saying that he don't even want to think about what happened last night. It was worse than the first 2 matches. I agree. And Venkash Jahara is saying that, boy, oh boy, I understand the feelings of these persons in the community. After last night's performance, I'm starting to think the West Indies senior team is cursed. Shake my head. I do not think they're cursed, Venkash, but the guys need to step up to the plate. And looking at last night's performance, Billy, do you think players who ignore this team and choose not to go to Australia, do you think they're laughing? Do you think they're happy? Do you think they said, oh, you see it, we can walk back into the team. We are better than those guys. You guys have been criticizing us, but we are still the best you have. You think these guys are happy, Billy?
You know, the unfortunate thing is, I don't even think they watch the match. I think they're wherever they are, focusing on their T20 tournament and their money. I don't even think they look at the match. So I don't think they feel any way about it. I think they take this team that they can walk in it when they want to and they can walk out whenever they want. And that is the unfortunate thing about the situation. And the thing is that if you look at most of these players' background, a significant number of them, you may find that they come from not so wealthy situation. And had it not been for West Indies cricket, they would have not been where they are. So West Indies cricket is the medium that exposed them. Take, for example, I'm not saying this young man is going to go this way, but since he's the latest sensation, Shamar Joseph, you know of his situation, you know of his poverty background across the river there where he lives, you know the difficult things that he has to do to make a living. Here it is that he came up, represented West Indies, and now T20 contracts are going to be coming in, hence transforming his life. Again, I'm not saying he's going to go with this direction, but let's say he chooses to go T20. Had it not been for West Indies cricket, how would he have gotten that opportunity to go and earn these monies? So you must pay some tribute and some respect to the medium or the body that exposes you. Again, we're not saying to the guys, don't play your T20. I want them to play as much T20 as possible and earn as much money. But whenever West Indies duty comes around, make yourselves available. Look at Puran. He came through the system. All of a sudden now he has made a decision he's only playing T20. Why can't he play some ODIs, even if not test matches?
I got you. Absolutely embarrassing game last night. I agree. Fidel da Silva, Mikel Douglas saying that we look like schoolboys last night. I can't blame these comments. Good morning, Patrick Davy. Well, those people are wagonists. Okay. I understand Patrick Davy, but they are worse than wagonists because what they want is for West Indies to lose. Every time, we don't see this happen when India lost. We never saw it happen when India made 35 in Australia. But as soon as West Indies lost the match, we see these people coming out of the woodwork that West Indies should be abandoned. You know, those are the persons that really piss me off. And the guys must realize that there are persons like these out there. Mr. Casanova is saying, just take a look at how other teams stand up and sing along to their national anthem. Then look at our players when our anthem comes on. No pride at all. Is that something that you have noticed, Andre Billy?
Yeah, and I just made a point a while ago when you asked me, what do I think the guys who are playing T20 think about how the team performed last night. And I said to you that I don't even think that they watched the game, right? The lacking of national pride is really embarrassing to see. And I don't know. I mean, some years ago, there's this famous history about a former Australian coach named Bobby Simpson. When he used to coach Australia, he implemented a system where they came up with some sort of metrics so they can test the motivation and the drive that a particular individual has before putting them into the team. So what they have done is that they have created an environment and a particular culture, and they have derived a mechanism in which they can help to test or see how motivated certain individuals are before they get national selection. I don't know if we need an overhauling of our system where we can implement some sort of strategy in place. Therefore, when we are recruiting players, we are able to discern that these persons are genuine people who want to represent the West Indies and people who have national pride before selecting them into the system. I mean, the display that we saw last night was really embarrassing. I don't know why is it that we have performed like that. I don't know. Something is wrong in the team. But also to add to that, though, these persons who keep coming out of the woodwork, mainly Indians that appear, talking about the West Indies should be abandoned as an entity. When you look at the resources that India received from the ICC, I mean, I think they're going to get something like $260 million for the 2024 period versus West Indies. 230 versus West Indies supposed to get something like $28 or $30 million. Look at the difference in income to invest in your grassroots cricket. And yet, despite all of this, you are still being able to produce some level of players that are able to compete on the international level. But the truth is, they have a whole heap of money, and I think it's almost as if they're using this money to try and buy our players away to prevent us from ever presenting a strong team. That's just my opinion.
You made a point there that I'm very interested in. You mentioned that it is not only the quality of the player that we need to look at when we are selecting players, but we need to assess the overall mentality of the player, the attitude of the player, the characteristics of the player, the mindset of the player. That is something that I'm very, very interested in. And I support that position that you have taken, in which you have clearly stated that is not only performance. When you saw a 15-year-old or a 20-year-old coming up and you decided that you are going to invest in that player, it must not only be his performance, but it has to do with his background and it is orientation. I believe in that 100%, that should happen. Now, Brian H. is saying that I still can't get over Utley not even reviewing the LBW when he clearly hit the ball. We have guys who are not dialed into the game. Your reaction to Utley dismissal, and before you come in, I must say, I do not have no time for any cricketer, for anyone who nicked the ball into his pad and is so confused, so gassy, so not aware of the situation that he refused to review it. I have no time whatsoever for such a person. I don't even want to discuss his dismissal because it was shambolic. But because Brian H. brought it up, I'm going to ask you your reaction to Utley dismissal.
I share your sentiments. I share your opinion. You hit the ball. Obviously, you must know that you hit the ball and you refuse to review it. It tells me that you don't want to be there. And if it is that you don't want to be there, nobody put a gun at your head and tell you to go on the plane. Just say, I'm not interested. Give somebody else the opportunity to go. So this guy, well, obviously that's his last international game. We're moving on from him. It was just embarrassing. So less said about him, the better.
Thank you. Now, this is something that we, at this comment from Sherwin is saying, players who don't play when asked should be punished for not playing. Now, if we took that position, if Cricket West Indies administration should take that position, and even what you mentioned earlier about looking at other dimension to the person other than his cricketing ability. If Cricket West Indies comes out with a policy like that, one of the things that is affecting us in the Caribbean is that we then get on the back of Cricket West Indies and say this is foolishness, this is slavery, you know, and that is a mentality that we need to get away from. You mentioned about the biometrics test that the former Australian coach had done. If we start doing that, we are going to hear slavery all over again, you know, and that mindset, we need to get rid of it and we need to instill policy. Now, Sherwin is saying that they should be punished. They should not be given a chance to pick and choose when they want to play. Now, if West Indies cricket should instill a policy like this, it's the same thing you're going to hear. Slavery mentality again. What is your view? Just before you answer, one other comment that I would like to make. I want you to check Spain. Spain, that big country in Europe who have won so many tournaments. Do you know that if you are called for national duty for Spain, no matter where in the world you are, you have to turn up, not only for the army, but for the football team, the cricket team. Yes, Spain do play cricket. You have to turn up no matter what you're doing. If you don't turn up, you're going to prison. You know, I don't know if we should be that harsh, but there must be some legislation that these players cannot play when they want. Go ahead, big man.
But Carlton, look at it. The other day, there are some Afghan cricketers, Naveen ul Haq, among others, who are trying to retire from international cricket early, or were trying to avoid test selection. What happened? They were banned from T20 leagues for 2 years. 2 years. Pakistan recently had a situation where they were going to Australia and certain players were called up and they said that they didn't want it to go. What happened? They got their NOC revoked. Australia, David Warner is playing ILT20 and they call back said it needs to be in Australia to play the T20 series versus the West Indies, right? So we have seen examples of these things. Bangladesh, the same thing too. If you refuse to call up from Bangladesh, you do not get any NOC. So why is it that we are afraid to implement this system within the West Indies? I've said it long ago, you know. And Dave Cameron had tried the policy, and I thought that we should have stuck with that policy from before. But to even further add to this argument, Carlton, all right, so Shimron Hetmeyer has a little brother named by the name of Adrian, right? They are saying that he's very talented, and they think that he has something to offer in the future. No T20 league around the world is going to take up this 15 or 16-year-old and invest in him. Obviously, he's going to go through the West Indies system, get his exposure at the international level, perhaps get a few T20 contracts, and then he runs off and play T20 and no longer care about the West Indies. What is wrong with implementing a contract from this early stage to say that if we invest in you through our system, you must prefer West Indies selection first for at least the next 10 years. Make a decision from an early stage, and then he can decide, I don't want anything to do with West Indies cricket, I'll go it on my own. Then West Indies cricket can say, I did not invest in you, so I cannot expect any return from you. What is so wrong with implementing such a policy here?
But you know what is going to happen? I just said it, Billy. The first thing we are going to hear is slavery. Slavery, that's the first thing we are going to hear. And
where's our backbone? Where's our backbone? Where's the backbone of our board and our government?
Yes, that is true. No, the thing is that I do not want to single out any individual, but which player can get a significant? I know that players get them look at $10,000, them look at $20,000 contract, T20 contract all over the world. some of these players, the money that they are getting to play in these T20 leagues and these T10 leagues is not enough even to take them to where they are going to play the leagues. But it's just the hype. But which one of these players can really get a significant contract without representing the West Indies? Which one?
None.
None. And, you know, one of the things that, take for example, the IPL. You know that a player cannot just get up and go to the IPL without the West Indies registering that player with the IPL. So
That's what I'm saying.
A player agent, for example, now, I'm a 20-year-old. I'm in the West Indies playing cricket. I want to register with the IPL. I just cannot get up and register with the IPL, you know. The West Indies have to register me first with the IPL. That's how it goes, you know. And yet still, we do not want to support the West Indies. But this topic could go on for a long time, Billy. But we are really here to discuss the Windward Island Volcanoes team. On the screen, there is the Windward Island Volcanoes squad. That 13-man squad there, Billy. You would have done some research on this squad. What are your thoughts on this squad that was selected by the Windward Island Volcanoes?
Well, just going through on my computer here are some numbers that I went through, and I'm looking at this team, and I look at all the other teams within the competition, and I'm of the opinion that this seems to be the weakest of all the teams. For example, it's going to be captained by young Kimani Milios. I mean, he's 22 years old, played 11 first-class matches so far, 250s, 100 with an average of 22.61. I would have thought that in a team like this, they would have looked at somebody like a Stanil Ambrose, who is a more experienced player, somebody who has test experience. Here he's 30 years old, plays 61 matches, 17 50s, 700 with an average of 33. I would have thought that they would have looked at somebody more experienced in order to lead the team, rather than putting such a responsibility on a young man who is just trying to make a way into regional cricket, not yet to mention international cricket. So I think this squad looks pretty weak on paper to me. There seems to be a lot of emerging players here, a lot of new players. And having said that, when I look at the average age of this team, I mean, there are a lot of 30 plus and late 20s persons that are within this team. So the squad looks pretty weak to me, and I don't expect them to do much within the competition.
All right. There's one selection in that team that I'm particularly very interested in, and is the wicketkeeper Tevin Walcott. I believe that he is someone that could challenge Joshua Da Silva for his place. He had a fairly good season last year, never done so well in the Weeks Headley series, and Tevin Imlak got the nod ahead of him to go to Bangladesh. Although, if memory serves me right, in the Weeks Headley series, one of them averaged 9 and one averaged 7. So it was just a matter of just putting two names in a basket. That is Imlak and Tevin Walcott. But I'm very impressed. But what I want to ask you, though, about this squad, when I look at it, I saw a number of names that are not from the Windward Islands. And these players are like rejects from their territory, you know? Why do you think that there are so many names in this squad that are outside of the Windward Islands?
Right. So what it appears here is that the cricketing structure within the Windward is probably not as strong as we thought. What they seem to be doing is that they are looking around the region and looking. You said rejects. I'll say leftover players.
I don't want to break your point, Billy.
Sure.
But you're saying the cricketing structure in the Windward Islands is not as strong as we expected it to be.
Doesn't appear
to be. But the present Cricket West Indies president, up to last year, this time, he was the president of the Windward Island Cricket Board. Is this something that we should be mindful of?
It's a yes and no situation, because what you find is that even though you're president and you're lower down the rank, meaning you're president of a regional board versus president of the senior board, as president of the regional board, you can only act sometime based on the resources that is given to you from the senior board. And also, it also depends on the structures that you have underneath you. So it's not always necessarily a good metric to say that if you did not excel as president of the Windward board, you're not in a position to excel as president of the West Indies board, because the truth is the higher up you go, the more resources you'll be exposed to. And the better resources that you have at your disposal, naturally expect your results to be better. So I don't think the two necessarily go hand in hand at all.
Yeah, back to your point that you were making about the number of outside players out of the Windward Islands.
Right. So looking at the listing here and looking at the number of players that is coming into their team, it doesn't appear that their system is producing the number of youngsters necessary to consistently replenish their team. So what it appears that they're doing is to look around the region, to look at players that might have not gotten a first team selection for their respective team, and then draw them within their systems. Not that anything is necessarily wrong with that, but you'll want to see that they're able to produce their players from their system to fill their team. But a more intricate examination, I guess, is needed into the structures that they have within those within that region, to see why younger players are not necessarily coming through the system as they're out.
Yes, this team is definitely missing Alec Atanez and Kavim Aj, which will strengthen the team, I guess, for the second round going forward. Do you see any player? Do you see any player in this team? Remember Kimani Melios getting a 192 last year, but then he got injured and fell away. And there's clearly an opening position at the top of the West Indies order, and players will be fighting for it. When you look at Kimani Melios, or is there any other player in this team that you think are pushing for a West Indies spot?
I'm not seeing anybody, obviously. The person that comes to mind right here is Sunil Ambrose. As I said, he has some test experience. Not that old, he's 30 years old at the moment. Played some test cricket. In regional cricket, I'm seeing here is averaging 33. Not the best of average, but not the worst when compared to others, 1750s and 700. So I would look to somebody like a Sunil Ambrose who has test experience to step up, stamp his class on regional cricket, and let the guys in the lower level know that he has test experience and he's here to state his claim to get back into the team. Because we need stiff competition, we need runs on the board in order to compete for the West Indies place. I also see Jeremy Salazano, who also has one test match for the West Indies, again, age 28, average 23, which is really poor. 10 50s and 2 centuries. I'm seeing Shamar Springer here, who is not from that side of the world, but he's in their team as well. Looking forward to seeing him put in some performances on the board. But really and truly, the pickings is really slim based on what I'm seeing here. Very slim pickings. So I really don't see anyone outstanding other than the two guys who are supposed to come back, which is Atanez and Hodge.
But with Kimani Melios, Sunil Ambrose, the two players to come back, and we saw Johan Jeremiah in the regional Super 50, that he was very impressive, and I think that he should have probably gone on the A-team tour of South Africa. What are your thoughts on Jeremiah? Have you seen enough of him, Johan Jeremiah?
No, I have not seen him. I look at his numbers from the Super 50. The returns was just above average. But I think you see, when you look at it, he's just 24 years old, not that old, but he also has not played that much regional cricket. So I think he needs to get out there, play some more regional cricket. I think he also needs some more thorough examination from bowlers from this level for me to make a concrete conclusion as to his ability. But he's showing some potential, but I need time to do a proper assessment of him. I don't really have any strong opinions on him at the moment, rather positive or negative.
Yeah, and the reason why he has not played a lot of cricket is at the university, so I guess he's concentrating on his study. But looking at that 13, which two would you leave out for the match tomorrow against Jamaica?
Well, I will leave out Shadrach, the all-rounder, and I will also leave out Daryl Cyrus.
Okay, you leave out Cyrus and
Shadrach.
Shadrach. Okay, Shadrach Descartes. Okay, you said that you do not see this team finishing anywhere but last, you said?
maybe close to the bottom. Cause you see, the Jamaica team is another situation. They may look good on paper and turn out they do nothing, So I really can't say, but maybe close to the bottom.
They are going to play Jamaica tomorrow. Yesterday, Basil said that Guyana won't win the tournament. And on Saturday, I think that Andre and Chateau said that Jamaica will finish somewhere third. Or fourth. So Jamaica will finish third or fourth. Guyana won't win, and you are saying that the Windwards won't win. I am yet to see who is going to win this tournament. But
Barbados.
Looking at the match tomorrow at Sabina Park, what are your picks for that match? Who you think is going to win that match tomorrow at Sabina Park over the next 4 days?
I think the match is going to end in a draw. I don't think we're going to see a result in that match, and I'm going to tell you why. If you look at the Jamaica team, we have some experienced players like the likes of Blackwood is there, Nkrumah Bana is there, Kirk McKenzie is returning. However, for some reason, when these guys come down to the regional level, especially our former or current test players, they are not stamping their authorities on these games, right? And you can find that even a Windward team that has a team that is not that experienced, but may have some heart, may very well end up giving the Jamaica team a warm time and have them hanging on for a draw at the end of the day. So as much as our team, Jamaica team, looks better on paper, and this Windward Island team looks so weak, I've totally lost confidence in the Jamaica team over the last 2 to 3 seasons based on how they have performed, even given the fact that they have what seems to be a strong team on paper. So based on that, I'm going to favor the Windward tomorrow to get a more positive result, if there's going to be a result at the end of the day.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I see there are some comments, and I think persons are reacting to the situation in Spain where if you do not turn up for national duty, you will be hauled before the court and maybe even sent to prison. Yes, if you do not turn up for national duty, that is the situation in Spain. And sure, when it's saying that in life, some people are just followers, and Robert Mullins is saying, no, that's a bit harsh. So he's saying that that position is a bit harsh. And Michael Douglas said, it's hard to blame a coach or a captain. You can't develop a playing style and give each other roles when every series you have a different players to lead. But Andre Billy, isn't that where the structure and the administration comes in? Because as the coach and as the captain, you should tell these players to turn up, and they're supposed to be turned up so you get the players that you want. Isn't that a part of it, Billy?
Yeah, it is a part of it, but unfortunately, that's just not what our structure is at the moment. Let me tell you something.
Yes.
The Indian authorities have prevented their players from playing any T20 leagues around the world. Australia, no matter where in the world you are, if you sign a T20 contract and the Australia selector call it, you better turn up. Can we do that out here?
No, you hear that.
Well, we can. Yes, but we refuse to. Let's correct it. We can, but we refuse to do it. Right?
Because if we ban some of these, afraid of course saying that's slavery. That's slavery.
As an administrator, you cannot be afraid. You have to have some backbone as an administrator. Set a system and stick to your system. That's what Australia does. That's what India does. That's what England does. Why can't we do it?
Truth Set You Free said, Mr. Forum, I hired a mason to put up a wall for me. When he was finished, the wall was cracked. I only paid him for coming. Those one-day players should only be paid for going to Australia. No match fee. Do you agree, sir?
No, contractually we can't do that. That's not legal. That's not legal. You can sue the guy for not putting up your wall properly because you can set the standard of what is supposed to be done. But when it comes to cricket, there's no prediction of what is happening out there. The only way you can do that is that you have to set up a pre-contractual system to say between 50 and 60 runs you get this, between 70 and 80. So it has to be done before, not after. You get yourself in some legal problems there.
Okay, and Colonel Lewis is agreeing with you about, putting structure in place that these cricketers. There's a rule in Australia, and I don't want to get it wrong, but I think once you play 5 international matches for Australia, you're automatically, it's like you then can't refuse a call-up after that. I just need to check on it some more, but it's like once you play 5 international matches for Australia, you are immediately contracted to Cricket Australia. But Cornell Owens is agreeing with you there, Billy. Yes. It's better to have 11 loyal players in all formats than 30 odd who pick and choose when they play. I can't disagree with that. I can't disagree
Perfectly
with
said.
that.
Perfectly
Yes.
said.
Yeah, that is true. Mr. Casanova is asking if Joel Andrews in this 4-day championship. I believe that he will be in the Leeward Islands Hurricane squad. He was in their Super 50 squad. So as soon as he get back, I think the squad members would arrive in the West Indies last night. So they should be available for the second match, Mr. Casanova. George Maxwell,
right.
Second round. The Windward Volcanoes is a reasonable team. I think they will finish in the top 3. Look out for Jeremiah and Melius. Maxwell, I agree. I'm looking out for those two also. I agree these 3 non-Windwards players are indeed rejects. They can't make their territorial team. So you know that George Maxwell is from the Windward Islands.
From the Windwards, right?
Yeah, from the Windwards. He's not happy about that.
Not at all.
Oh, Michael Douglas. Well, again, he made it clear that is his opinion and he's entitled to his opinion. You know, he made it clear. Preston McSweeney is playing with another team. Okay. Okay. Patrick Davies saying that this match reminds me of 2004 West Indies was bowled out for under 60 by England at Sabina Park before lunch time on a green top wicket. We cannot manage these type of pitches. But the thing about it, last night pitch was a batting paradise, Andre Billy.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Poor shot selection, poor team planning, lack of a consistent plan that you stick to. Work with the plan throughout a particular series. Again, 3 matches, 3 different plans. That tells us that there's confusion.
Yeah. The question is, who do you think is really in charge of this West Indies team down in Australia? Who does the buck stop with?
Great question, Carlton. I mentioned it in the group that there seems to be a confusion as to what direction the team is going into. It seems as if Sammy wants one thing. It seems as if Hope wants one thing. Maybe Hooper wants something and then Reefer wants something. There's no consistency. I'm not sure at the end of the day who has the ultimate decision. With the Australian team, I know definitely is the captain. With the West Indies team, I'm not sure. But it should be the captain who has the final say because he's the one leading the team.
Yeah, but I think, I think the captain doesn't necessarily have a final say, but I think the coach who has a final say, but what the captain wants should be rated highly. But I think that Sammy, especially, he's the one. Sammy is the one that employed the assistant coaches. So if they are not pulling along with him, he should be strong and fire them and get someone who's going to push his agenda. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please join me tomorrow. I will be at one of the matches that has been played in Jamaica. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you very much, Andre, for being with us today. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones.
Thank you also. Thank you to all of you for tuning in.